Hey, this is Rob Liefeld. You are listening to the Cinescape Podcast on Toxic Radio.
We good?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Cinescape Podcast. We're changing the landscape of movie and TV news and reviews. We're getting things off to a bang-up start here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sean Harrigan, joined as always by Bill Rowdy Tozzy.
Woo! You know what, Sean? I'm looking at myself in the peripheral video imaging here, and
How do you look?
I look short.
Short.
Mike, why don't we get the pillows? like I'm a kid that can't sit in a regular chair, to get a haircut. Remember that shit? Remember when you had to get a haircut when you were a kid and you weren't big enough for the adult chair?
Booster seat?
They put you in the booster seat. Yeah. So got
Bill,
that going on.
Bill Too Short Tozzy.
Bill Too Short Tozzy. Not too tall Tozzy.
Nah, definitely not. And we would be remiss to not also introduce the producer extraordinaire, the man behind the setup here.
Yeah.
Toxic Mike Francolino. Mike,
Do it live!
More like frantic Lino today, because he's got engineering issues going on back
I got
here.
a bad feeling about this.
And he's being very patient. He's trying to hold back here.
Mike's doing a wonderful job. Mike, how you doing? How you feeling?
How you doing?
Anxiety is at a level beyond your imagination.
Yeah, you want to crush some Xannies on this
Kinda
420 and
We're doing some upgrading here in the studio, some rearranging, and sometimes with audio equipment, it just hates you.
yeah. Certainly it's kind of like when you just can't come to perform at the moment of things, right?
Right.
You
get there, you're all excited.
Right.
You're
gonna jump into it, you're gonna give it your best. You'll slip in and out a little bit, but ultimately Wow. It's just not gonna all come together.
Yes.
Mike, thanks for the coffee, by the way. Great pick-me-up. Also, what's your take on people that drink black coffee? Do you agree that they're a sociopath in life?
I actually do drink black coffee.
Well, mine's only black because you told me all you have is cashew milk downstairs, and I put in a proportion. Yeah, cashew milk. I didn't even know cashews could make milk.
Yeah,
It's new to me.
They have nipples. Cashew milk is actually really good. It has very small amount of carbs.
It didn't even change the color of the coffee. I put in I said, I put an equal proportion, similar to half and half for milk, and it didn't even do anything.
Well, better you than me. I'm not drinking that shit. My wife drinks that shit too.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Nah.
It does its job. You can have a bowl of cereal or something. I don't know.
It did something, I guess.
Nice
All right.
warm glass of shut the hell up.
So a couple people joining in and out of the room here.
Yeah, hello to all in the chat.
Yeah.
Who's in there? Who's saying hi?
I don't
Who's
know.
going? Who's doing something?
Nobody.
All right, you just lied. Straight up just lying.
Yeah, just lying.
Laughing and lying. Plotting and scheming.
All
Well,
right,
Bill, we do
fire.
have a fun, action-packed show today. We have some news in the TVs, the movies. We have a couple guests calling in
Yeah.
a little bit later. One's going to talk about Game of Thrones. One's going to talk about Star Wars, which are going to be the two main topics of today's show, which we're excited to get into. With that, we might as well just jump, Bill, right into our TV buzz as we're going to highlight some of the biggest stories from the world of the TV screens. Bill, I'm going to read this first one here.
Yeah.
The upcoming 9th season of American Horror Story has been announced to be titled 1984, along with a short teaser trailer. Though not much information was provided, it does seem like there will be an 80s slasher theme. We also spoke previously that actor Evan Peters will not appear during this 9th season of American Horror
Did you like
Story.
that American Horror Story? Like,
I wasn't quite sure
what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next topic.
Just trying to grope on me a little bit, but American Horror Story 1984 slasher 80s centric theme here. Bill.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Did you see the little teaser for it?
I did.
What did you think?
It's very
Describe it frame by frame.
that I cannot do. However, once again, it's just the little tease that we always get this early on to reel us in. I think 1984, if they're going with that 80s theme, should be pretty cool. If they're going to be doing a slasher tone, that is going to be interesting as well. So looking forward to what's to come with that. Evan Peters not appearing, though. That should be an interesting dynamic. However, we've seen cast members come and go, so I don't think it's going to be a
it'll be interesting to see who they kind of plug in his place as the series lead, whether it's going to be somebody
maybe
that's already appeared, maybe somebody brand new to the series. But it's also kind of curious. I was kind of the mindset that this season would kind of piggyback off of last season in terms of
there was pigs.
Yeah, there were toxic radio pigs.
Oh.
You kind of continuing the story from where it left off. I guess they're going to go in a different direction, but you think this is kind of overkill with a lot of the nostalgic series that we've been getting lately? Your Stranger Things. Different series like that. They're going to be playing.
No,
the same realm.
I don't think so, because American Horror Story, I feel like has its own imprint on the way that they do things. So I think no matter what the backdrop is, it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see what trailers come out for that and
Yes.
posters, stuff like that, and news on casting.
Absolutely.
We'll let you know. But Bill, go ahead and read our next one.
Yeah. Disney Plus has unveiled a slew of information, including a November 12th launch date, a $6.99 monthly price, and new programming such as The Mandalorian, the 7th season of Star Wars The Clone Wars, a Cassian Andor series, WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, The Sandlot, and The Mighty Ducks. So a lot of big names coming out of here right out of the gate. For Disney Plus's new service that's going to be launching November 12th of this year, like we said. So, a lot of familiar names in there that people should be used to, a lot of familiar brands right off the bat that should be enough to draw potential buyers and subscribers to the new service. So I think it's, it's a home run that they come right out of the gate like this with big name stuff, because you need that. You're not going to get, when you look at, how CBS All Access, all they had was Star Trek Discovery. That
Right.
wasn't enough to reel in.
No, nobody's going to sign up for
you need
a streaming platform for one show.
Right. Look at the variety of brands that you have coming into play here. So I think
this is just a small sample size.
Small sample, yeah, absolutely.
The entire Disney library is going to be available.
Right.
Yeah, every animated film, whatever, everything they acquired from Fox, that was all part of this deal to have that content for Disney Plus specifically.
Tristan's in the chat room says he can't wait for Disney Plus. A lot of people out there, if you're hearing some of these names, you're familiar. Obviously, Sandlot, Mighty Ducks. They're talking about how Marvel and Star Wars is going to take on a new meaning of storytelling, and your balls kind of just tighten up a little bit in the excitement of things. You know what I mean? When you get that moment of excitement and they just kind of tense up, that's what this is going to do. So I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah, I don't know about the whole balls thing. My balls are just fine, but
Oh my
my balls are good. My balls are excited. My balls are ready to subscribe to Disney Plus
balls are swollen.
as soon as they open up the gates for it. $6.99 to start off. Is a great price, I believe. It's about half the cost of Netflix currently.
Yeah. It's a great startup
Whether
price.
or not they stick with that price, or they're just using it as a jumping off point.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll.
I would bet that it would be going up a
Right.
couple dollars within a year.
Yeah,
or
as
maybe after
more
a year.
content is added
Right.
on.
But I think just the bulk of content that they're going to have available, like we said, all the Disney animated movies, Star Wars, the Marvel stuff, Pixar, and then we talked about in all our past shows with everything that they acquired from Fox, that whole plan was, like we just said, to have the content to put on the streaming. So
well, and the good thing with some of these Marvel productions is that they've already talked about how the stories will now blend in with the movie. So that should be good in the sense where Netflix was kind of bound in its own realm there. Now some of these characters may transition onto the big screen, or at least some stories will have continuity filled in with these shows.
Yeah,
so
they can be just little one-offs, little seasons of shows where it can be filler between movies to kind of explain what was going on in between, where people were, what was going on.
Yeah.
And all the actual actors are reprising their roles from the films, which is really cool to see as well. We're going to move along. I think this is going to pique Mike's interest here because he's a video game guy.
Ooh.
But Showtime's Halo series has found its Master Chief in actor Pablo Schreiber. The character for the mysterious series version of the game is described as Earth's most advanced warrior in the 26th century and the only hope of salvation for a civilization pushed to the brink of destruction by the Covenant, an unstoppable alliance of alien worlds committed to the destruction of humanity. The series will also feature a newcomer, here's a good name for you, Yaren Ha, as Quan Ah, a quote-unquote shrewd, audacious 16-year-old from the Outer Colonies who meets Master Chief at a fateful time for them both. Bill,
You shrewd son of a bitch.
with such a mouthful in that description, I want to get Mike's take on this first. Mike, are you a Halo guy?
I mean, you see in my living room, I have the Master Chief helmet. I've played pretty much every Halo known to man.
Is this relevant?
So
I think
you're not a fan then?
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Who? No, it's not. The last Halo
Mike jacks
was
off wearing that helmet.
the last Halo. No, it was actually they called it the cat helmet because only a cat's head could fit in it because it's only got a little slot in it.
That's what she said.
I was wondering why that cat was walking funny.
But no, so the last Halo they made, I can't remember the name of it because I have it, I own it. I still have not beaten the first level in it. It ran a great course. It was the flagship game and title for Xbox when it came out. It pushed the boundaries of gaming and graphics and what you could do.
It's the future of gaming.
It was back then. In terms of what it was able to do, but I mean that was Xbox the original.
Yeah.
I mean how many years later?
Yeah, you want to go play EverQuest on PS2?
But no, it's not relevant anymore. If they would have done this, 15 years ago, maybe people would have been into it. But it's to me as a gamer, it's kind of like when they came out. It's kind of like when they came out the Warcraft movie.
Yeah.
People begged for it for so long and asked for it. By the time they finally released it, their subscription base was nowhere close to what it had been in the past, even though it's still a huge game. But the passion just wasn't the same as it was before. If they would have done it in the height of the game, it would have been great. This is way past the height of the game.
But you know what, though, too, is, I can see where studios would be reluctant because a lot of times you have fans clamoring for these, for these products to come out, at the height of their, interest. And how many times have we seen a video game movie fall flat,
Are you talking about Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat's great.
Prince of Persia.
There was a movie for that?
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
What else was there?
Mortal Kombat and
Tomb Raider was a good one.
Not all of them.
But I'm saying the original one was good enough that they kept going.
Yeah. But I mean,
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil
went on for a little too long.
Was there like 6 or 7 of them, right?
I don't know.
Something
You
like
start
that.
getting
But see,
into Revelations.
Mila
and-
Jovovich.
But there's a difference between going too long and just falling flat on your face when you first came out.
That's what she said.
I think Mortal Kombat was one that fell in. So I'm trying to remember any other. Super Mario Brothers with John Leguizamo and
we were talking about that maybe last
the other
night.
day.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll circle back to that.
Yeah,
a
I think
little
we
later.
might have to.
But we got to
Yeah,
get
we're
to
going to get to
our.
this next story here because we do have a caller getting ready to call in.
Yeah.
But we want to read this one first. Bill, go ahead.
All right. So though episode 3 of the final season was originally listed with a 60-minute runtime, HBO has now added an additional 22 minutes to the episode, making it the longest of the season and 1 minute longer than the season 7 finale. Obviously, we are talking about Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And Sean, you've started off with this season 8 so far, right?
Yeah, I watched the premiere.
Has
Sunday night.
has it met expectations for you so far?
As somebody, I've brought this up in the show before. I kind of fell off of the show for a while because of, the relation to the books and all that good stuff. But I did get back into it and caught up in the last couple seasons, and I did watch the season 8 premiere. For me, I think it was a very good episode, not because there was a ton of action or anything like that, which there wasn't, but it really set up the overall storylines that you're going to be seeing for the rest of the season, and kind of did a really good job reuniting a lot of characters from the past that haven't been together in very long amounts of time.
Was there any tits in the first episode?
Oh.
Yeah?
Oh, there's borderline full-on vagina.
Full-on...
pretty much.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty fun to see, and it was right off the bat, too.
Ah, nice.
Getting you back into the swing
I'm not
of
gonna...
things.
I've delved into Game of Thrones. I'm not gonna watch any of the new season yet until I get completely caught up, but...
Right.
I am...
We were watching some last night.
Yeah,
one.
Making the stride to move forward, and it's funny because you got all these people on Facebook that aren't watching Game of Thrones, and they feel like because they're not in the circle of what's being discussed, what's being relevant at the time, they have to all band together with other people that aren't watching and be like, oh, we're not watching Game of Thrones. Look at us.
Well, you know who is watching Game of Thrones, Bill?
Yeah.
Our special guest on the line right now. He is actually one of our brand new guest writers for the Cinescape.com. He is going to be reviewing all of Season 8 for our website.
Woo!
Give it up for Tristan Mayer. Tristan, how's it going?
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, what's up
just
with
talking
you?
some Game of Thrones, man. So like we were just saying, we're very excited to have you on our new writing staff. Like we said, you're going to be reviewing Game of Thrones. You had the first episode review up there. You also did a season 8 kind of preview, catching everybody up on where the characters were, where they started, and then where you anticipate them going. With the first episode in the books, Tristan, give us your overall thoughts on how that episode went in terms of setting up everything and bringing back some characters that we haven't seen together for a while.
Yeah, they set up a lot of stuff in the first episode. I think they are going through pretty quick, honestly, comparatively to previous seasons. I mean, already we've had pretty much all the main characters reunite. I mean, Arya reunited with the Hound and Gendry and Jon all in one episode. And Dany met everybody in one episode. And you can tell they're not going to, waste time. They're just kind of, getting right to it. So I think we're up for a very fast-paced season just based off the first episode.
Yeah, definitely, and especially with a condensed season where they're only going to have 6 episodes. Right before you got on, Tristan, we were reading the story that episode 3 was just added an additional 22 minutes. With episode 3 supposed to be a very big battle scene where pretty much the entire episode is one big battle, kind of like we saw last season. What do you anticipate that they might have added in with that extra time?
I know I heard a story in before the season came out that they want this to be the longest consecutive battle sequence ever filmed. They want to beat out Return of the King and Two Towers to be the longest and biggest battle sequence. And I think maybe the extra time could be extra action to get them to that cutoff mark. They want to technically have that world record of longest battle episode.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Try to go out in a big way, setting world records.
Winter is coming.
So Bill over here, we were talking about, is just getting into the series. He's almost through the first season. So what is your advice?
It's a little longer than that, actually.
All right. Well, what's your advice to somebody like Bill who's just getting into the series now that we're, the rest of us are all at the end of it?
My advice is turn off the internet because everything is out there. I mean, we just spoiled half the show for you in the last.
Well, and I've talked to Sean about my stance with spoilers because, obviously, we have Endgame stuff out there. There's Game of Thrones stuff. I don't really get spoiled by it because, one, for me, like, I still don't know everything about the show yet. So, for me, I'm still putting my own pieces together. So, I mean, yeah, I can see snippets and stuff here and there, but, it doesn't really faze me too much. But, I'm excited to, see what's going to progress. I mean, I've already bought into the storytelling. It's very compelling. I think the episodes so far in the first 2 seasons, I mean, it's really focusing in on tying certain characters together and creating tensions or alliances and things like that. So there's, I'm sure, more to come as I progress, but so far I've been pleased.
Yeah, people have always acted like Game of Thrones. Recently, it's become this like action-heavy series with like dragons and sword fights and all that stuff. And I think, especially in the first season, the first 2 seasons, it's very character-focused, it's very dialogue-heavy.
Oh yeah,
and I think that can turn people off. So I think if you're already invested, then you're going to be in for the long run because it only gets more action-heavy, more intense as it goes. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, Tristan, looking, but like especially last night, I was over Bill's and we were watching some of the first season again, and going back and seeing the characters, especially with the Stark kids as very young kids on the screen. If you can look back, what are some of your favorite arcs from the characters that you saw in episode 1 to where they are now?
I think Tyrion has had a really fascinating arc, just going from. In that first episode, you see him as sort of this, like, spoiled, kind of pampered, rich guy, and sure, he's a dwarf, so his family kind of hates him, but he still has a lot of privilege and a lot of just, like, lackadaisical attitude towards everything. But by now, he's, like, a leader of a potential rebellion against the throne, and I think that's a really big dynamic arc.
Yeah, definitely. His story's been a lot of fun to follow, and just Peter Dinklage is amazing in that role. Yeah, he's always great. He tears up the screen whenever he's on there. In closing, before we get you out of here, Tristan, episode 2, Sunday night, tomorrow night, is only going to be about the same runtime that episode 1 was. Do you see this being, again, more of a setup episode than something more action-packed?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of setup. I think it's written by someone who wrote a lot of the early episodes in season 1 and 2 where he was famous for like the 2 characters talking in a room for 15 minutes, and that's the whole scene. So I think we're going to get a lot of character moments. He said in an interview that this kind of feels like a love letter to the beginning of Game of Thrones. So I think we're going to feel kind of like a nostalgic throwback to the first season a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I can see those
parallels. And by the end, we're going to be left hanging.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be too long until we get to that final episode with the short amount of episodes that we do. But Tristan, as we get out of here, we wanted to let everybody know that you can find Tristan's articles and reviews up on both the Cinescape.com and where else, Tristan?
You can find all of my reviews and articles posted at TristanMayerMedia.com.
Absolutely. So make sure you check out his articles on both of those sites, and he will have his episode 2 review up either late tomorrow night or Monday afternoon sometime. So we look forward to that. Tristan, enjoy the episode tomorrow. Thanks for calling in, bud, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one. Tristan Mayer, everybody. We're very excited to have him on board, adding a lot of great content to our website, thecinescape.com. So make sure you go over there and read some of his work that's up there now. Like I said, he did a really good series recap leading up to the episode or season 8 premiere, and his first review of episode 1 of the new season was a lot of fun to read as well. So he's killing it over there, and we look forward to reading more of his stuff.
Absolutely.
Anything else in closing about Game of Thrones that you wanted to bring up, Bill?
How many boobs do you think we'll watch on the next episode? What's your over under?
I hope at least stays on par with episode 1. So there's got to be at least 3 sets.
Yeah.
Maybe
okay.
more.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, maybe we'll double down. How about we go 6 full sets of boobies?
Okay. Whatever you say.
Put up a poll in the group right now.
Okay.
How many boobs do you think we'll see in episode 2?
We'll put it up.
That's going to do it for our Game of Thrones talk. As we get through, hopefully Bill is able to catch up in some semblance over the course of the season. We'll see how far he gets. If not, then we'll just have to keep spoiling everything.
You got the DVDs too, right?
I think we have some at home. Maybe not all of them, but we definitely do have a couple. I'll have to look for you, Bill. Real quick, we're going to flip our script and get into the movies. And I just have one story that we're really going to focus on here, Bill. Star Wars Celebration took place last weekend in Chicago. Along with the multi-day convention came the reveal of both the title and first trailer for Episode 9, which is titled The Rise of Skywalker. Director J.J. Abrams also spoke on the timeline of the film, saying the movie doesn't pick up immediately after the last film. Some time has gone by. This is an adventure that the group goes on together. One of the great things about the movie is the dynamic between the characters. They are just the most wonderful together. That's the thing I'm most excited for you all to see. So with that, we actually have somebody that was at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago last weekend.
Chicago.
He is a good friend of the show. We're excited to have him back on after... trying to think when the last time we had him on. It was
probably like a year ago.
Yeah, at least. We have Rob Keys from Screen Rant and CBR on the line. Rob, how's it going today, brother?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's about time, by the way.
Yeah,
I
man.
know. Bill's really been dropping the ball lately.
Kapla, Rob!
Wait, before we get into this, Bill, have you been watching Star Trek Discovery yet?
No, I'm not bought in at all.
Oh, my God. All right, forget
well,
it.
they just jumped, 950 years to course correct a shitty
Spoiler.
two-season timeline? Oh, spoiler for
Spoiler
all the
alert.
people not watching out there.
By the way, it's 930 years, to be clear.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, I mean, I know that they pretty much just ruined the Borg or something, apparently, and I don't know. I'm just not bought in,
You gotta
man.
watch it. You gotta watch it.
All right. Maybe, well, all Trek has pretty much picked up after the third season, so, maybe I'll give it a go starting season 3.
Hey, that's a good point. Maybe that's true, yeah.
I mean, TNG, first 2 seasons were wonky. DS9, first 2 seasons were wonky. Same with
Even
Voyager.
Enterprise, Voyager, yeah.
I despise Enterprise.
Okay, you're just a hater. I get it.
I mean, dude,
He's very particular about his Trek.
I turn off as soon as I hear, I've got faith of the
theme song.
heart.
I know nothing about this series, but the theme song is
I
terrible.
remember, the intro song.
I'm like, this ain't space. I feel like I need to go to a church group and confess or something.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's bad. But good talking to you, Rob. Welcome back.
Yeah. Thanks,
So
I guess.
you were out in Chicago recently, partaking in the Star Wars celebration, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So run us through that event for us.
Yeah, well, first off, just to preface it, they didn't do one last year, which is unusual
Right.
because they did the big one in Europe for Rogue One. They did one in 2017 Orlando, which they tied into a bunch of stuff happening at Walt Disney World, the big Galactic Nights event, and it made sense. And then, sort of as the Last Jedi came out, and it was very polarizing, and they started making a little bit less money on merchandise and licensing, and then Solo kind of bombed. The hype train fell off the rails totally,
Yeah.
and they took a big break intentionally, I think. I think the plan initially for the Star Wars movies was to copy the Marvel model, right? Get up to 2 movies a year, then 3 movies a year.
Right.
But that totally did not work, so now they're backing off. And they kind of shut down all marketing, all hype, all news, everything, right? So
Right.
going into the celebration, it was weird because everyone, certainly on the media side, and a lot of there's hardcore fans that love everything about Star Wars there, obviously. But a lot of people in the industry going to this event were like, kind of meh, we'll wait and see. And going into it, we had seen nothing on Star Wars 9. We had no title, no marketing materials, nothing on The Mandalorian. Nothing. They were showing more on the Galaxy's Edge theme parks opening up in California and Florida. So there was nothing, So that was weird going into it. But I think when that Star Wars 9 trailer hit, it just ignited a fire, and everyone was kind of back on board again, saying, "Oh my God, J.J. Abrams is back." Everything is back. I guess everything that happened in The Last Jedi seems to be undone in that little teaser trailer. And then the event itself was long. It's 4 or 5 days. To see the show floor, you only need a couple hours, really. So, I tell everyone who's going or bringing a family, if you really want to experience it, just all you need is half a day. Make sure you make time to get meals before and after. Just walk the floor. The best part of being there, I think, is seeing all the cool costumes that people make. Because people put intense amount of work and artistry into the cosplay. And then if you want to hit the panels, you can, but they're all streamed online. So it's really just a gathering of hardcore fans and friends who are in groups together making costumes or building droids and doing stuff like that. So it's a very community-focused event. And if you're not part of that community, you can still experience it in just a couple of hours, or you can just experience it from home, as I'm sure you guys did, just watching the key live streams.
Right, yeah. Speaking of some of the panels, what were some of your favorite ones that you got to get into?
Yeah, so they kind of separated it out, so there was one each day. I think the event ran from Thursday to Monday. Monday was like a 20-year anniversary celebration of episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So we didn't do that. Everyone kind of skipped out on that.
I can see why.
Night, yeah. Well, I went down with Disney, and we all just kind of left Sunday night. So there was one a day. So the first day was obviously episode 9. That was the huge one. They brought the whole cast out on stage. Including, Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian, which was such an epic moment. If you're a fan of the OG Star Wars, having him come out, do his signature laugh, praise the crowd, being all the swagger that Lando has, Billy D. Williams brings in person. So that was pretty cool to see. And then the next day, I think, was the Galaxy's Edge theme park stuff, where they kind of unveiled the last few details we hadn't heard yet, because that's opening very soon, next month.
Yeah.
It opens at Disneyland, and then in August it opens in Orlando. So there's not too much left to do on that front. And then the big new thing was The Mandalorian on Sunday, which is the kind of first Disney Plus and the first live action Star Wars series.
That looked pretty good.
Yeah, we got the leaked trailer footage online that got out. We both watched that. I think just the tone of it, that that gritty underworld of Star Wars really shines through. And especially the cast too, Pedro Pascal and Gina Carano and there, Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed himself.
Apollo who?
Yeah.
But
that looks beyond that. You have Werner Herzog and Giancarlo Esposito in there. Taika Waititi's voicing that famous droid IG-88. So for Star Wars fans, that's hitting a lot of beats. And like you said, it's very gritty. It's totally exploring the underground, like the outer rim, dirty part of the galaxy, and it's set right kind of after Return of the Jedi, which is kind of an interesting setting to kind of explore that gap.
Yeah, what do they say? 5 years after Jedi, I believe.
Something like that. It's not entirely clear. It's very interesting, yeah. So it's kind of like the hype of the Empire falling apart has died down, and the universe has gone to shit, as it always was. But yeah, I will say, just to temper expectations, people were hyped on the idea of that, but like the first footage they showed, and keep in mind we are 6 months out from that even airing. It was very like Joss Whedon TV budget looking stuff with like very fake backgrounds. No lighting, no effects. It was very kind of like, oh boy, this actually looks like just a basic TV show that's being rushed. But when they shut the stream down, they showed us the more complete footage at the end. Some of that leaked online, I'm sure you saw. That looked way better when we got to see the action scenes and the effects in action. That looked way better. So it's very promising. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Rob, you got to see the Rise of Skywalker trailer, and we just mentioned, one of the quotes that came out. The Rise of Skywalker doesn't pick up immediately after Last Jedi. Some time has gone by. Obviously, that's more of a shot, I would say, to Rian Johnson, and like you said, the polarizing direction that he went. And now this movie has to kind of do some course correct and fill in gaps and kind of spackle over some spots that weren't so smooth in that Last Jedi movie. So where do you see Rise of Skywalker, in this final entry into the trilogy here, and what do you expect from this movie? Obviously it's gonna have to correct some things, but in a closeout sense too. What do you expect from this?
It's a good question. I don't know. I'm of two minds about this whole thing. I did not love The Last Jedi, but not for the reasons a lot of people don't like it online. I didn't like the individual scenes, like the logistics of what characters or starships are doing in every single sequence.
Like how Rose and what's his name just go to like a casino planet and has no relevance.
As a waste of 20 minutes.
Oh, here's the best part. They save alien horses, but don't save the slave children.
Right.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
That's the least of the problems, though. But oh man, I can go on for days about that movie. But the opening sequence is a space battle, right? With the First Order ships following the remnants of the Resistance.
Yeah.
And Poe Dameron flies in with a Super X-wing by himself, and they cut to that admiral who's flying the dreadnought, the First Order admiral, and he says, "We should have launched our starfighters 5 minutes ago." When I'm like, "Why didn't you? You are the admiral.
Yeah.
This is your job." I would have done it. A 5-year-old would have figured that out.
Right.
Anyways, just the whole movie is that essentially. But yeah, the first thing and I think they are very. It is a shot across Rian Johnson's bow, and people would deny it, but it is. The fact that teaser shows Luke Skywalker's lightsaber completely fine again, they rebuilt, and they show Kylo Ren's helmet being rebuilt. The whole theme of The Last Jedi was to subvert expectations, and anyone can be special and let the past die. And this movie jumps straight into nostalgia. They show the remnants of like one of the Death Stars, one of the first two. I don't know which one. They show Lando coming back. They bring back Palpatine, and all the things that happen to the characters in The Last Jedi are literally undone in like 30 seconds of teaser. So it's like, wow, okay, so The Last Jedi didn't really do much. Like all the characters at the end of that film are exactly where they are at the beginning of the film. So it did accomplish nothing other than erase Snoke, you know? Yeah,
and let me ask you this. You know, obviously bringing that nostalgia back that you just mentioned, you know, when JJ did the first entry, Force Awakens, it felt very nostalgic to A New Hope. Now, you know, a lot of people are...
Too much, some would say.
Now, I mean, obviously this movie has to, you know, fix some things, you know, beyond its control with Last Jedi, but do you think this movie is going to be more nostalgic in a Return to Jedi sense, or do you think this movie will actually solve some things or answer some, you know, some questions that, you know, have kind of, you know, had like this whole trilogy has had some gaps in, you know, in continuity and storytelling. Do you think there's going to be any closure, or do you think it'll just be a big, you know, nostalgia rehash like Force Awakens, where, you know, you get the, you know, the cool, you know, battle scenes in space, and you get some, you know, gritty characters, you know, that are, you know, polarizing to each other, and, you know, you don't really get too much answers? Or do you think it's going to be like that kind of storytelling again?
It's a good question. I really, really hope not. I think at this point, all the new characters who are leading the franchise have earned their spot, so they don't need to rehash old movies. Like, I mean, structure point for structure point, ship by ship, character by character, even planet by planet. The Force Awakens is a clone of A New Hope. It's the exact same film. It's absurd. So, that being said, if there is another Death Star or a Star Killer base or Ewoks in Episode 9, I will throw my chair at the screen.
Make sure you film that and send it to us.
I just quit my job. Yeah, no, it'd be insane.
Well, do you think that Death Star that they show, do you think that could be the second Death Star, and that scene actually is on what's the name of the Ewok planet? Endor.
That's the fourth moon of Endor. Yeah.
Do you think that's where that scene could actually be? Maybe Palpatine's kind of tied to that part of the Death Star that he was killed in, and like that becomes like a new nexus for dark side energy, like the Force Cave on Dagobah.
Yeah, I'm unsure at this point. Initially, I thought for sure it's the Death Star 2.0, and we know because Kylo Ren went there to retrieve Vader's helmet, who he's obsessed with. And maybe when he did that in the past, that's when he encountered Palpatine, who, you know, obviously survived whatever happened in the Death Star 2. And there was always fan theories about, like, after they defeated the second Death Star, all that planetary debris, a lot of it had to come down crashing on that moon and probably laid waste to that planet and the poor Ewoks. But, yeah, so I thought for sure that's it. That's probably how he encountered Palpatine, and Palpatine's actually been pulling the strings the whole time. And maybe Snoke was never even real. It was always just Palpatine playing games with people, you know? Because they're really, you know, going crazy with what they can do with Force powers in these movies, obviously. And then I heard about, you know, with the Poe Dameron character. He is from Yavin 4, which is where the first Death Star battle happened. And we're supposed to, I think I heard in one of the quotes, we're going to see some of his family. And knowing that where the rebels were set up in the original movie, A New Hope, those old temples, Massassi temples, were like old, like kind of Jedi or Sith ruins. So maybe there's like a tie back there. So at this point, I'm unsure. It could be either. Both planets are both kind of like forest moon type things.
Right.
So that's no moon.
Play it both ways. Yeah. Right.
Rob,
could be either.
Let me ask you this: with the title "Rise of Skywalker," what do you speculate as far as, you know, lineage is concerned? Do you think Skywalker is a direct correlation to, you know, possibly Rey or something, somebody of direct lineage? Or do you think, there's this broad sense term that's being passed around of, Skywalker being, how, he was training, people and then left the order and things like that? Do you think there's going to be this gray order or this, broader sense of a Jedi or some kind of, following like that? Or what do you speculate as far as the title and how that derives into the story?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, as someone who's kind of like at this point in Star Wars, like I feel like the whole backdrop of the First Order fighting the Resistance or the Empire fighting the Rebellion, it's meaningless. You know what I mean? Like it just means more CGI ships exploding. It doesn't affect anything. So it's really a character piece, and it makes me wonder, like, what is the end point? If they keep saying this is the end of the saga, the end of the trilogy of trilogies, this is really it. The only way that ends in the way I would expect is like that ends with like a kind of a reset of what the Jedi Order means, right? So some people think Skywalker is just going to be the term used to describe Force users, and there's no dark side or light side. There's my side, and using Force powers for general good or whatever. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Rey does. She starts the New Order, and that could be what people call the Gray Jedi. And then there's, people still think with JJ undoing everything The Last Jedi did, maybe Rey is a Skywalker. Certainly we know Ben Solo, Kylo Ren is. So the rise of Kylo Ren doesn't make any sense. He's already the supreme leader. You know what I mean?
Well, Mark Hamill came out and quoted saying that Luke Skywalker didn't die a virgin. So I don't know what to read into that, but,
that alien with the blue milk boobs.
Who knows? But so I was on another podcast during Celebration. I talked about this too. I love the idea, and it's totally not realistic at all, that the Skywalker they're referring to is Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker, and he's actually a villain. Because if you go back a decade ago, he appeared on that Dinner for Five show that Jon Favreau used to host, and Kevin Smith hosted as well. And there was an episode, I don't know if you saw it, but it's totally worth watching, where they had JJ, Kevin Smith, I can't remember if Favreau was there or not. Maybe he wasn't there for that one. But it was Mark Hamill and JJ together, like years before Disney even acquired Lucasfilm. And Hamill told all these stories about how he used to tell George Lucas, hey, I want to come back and be a villain, and we'll pass this lightsaber along like Excalibur. And my hairstyle, because Mark Hamill spent a couple of years or something in Japan, was going to be like a samurai-style look. Mm-hmm. And that look and those ideas, they applied to Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Phantom Menace with the weird hairpiece coming on the side. So I'm like, man, what if Skywalker is the bad guy? I love the idea of that. And what also plays into that, it would be awesome. It would be different, right?
Because, Rob, when you think back to Return of the Jedi, the symbolism of him wearing all black was that, he...
Totally.
He was, on the verge of possibly being turned. And, the subtle clue of, at the end, when you see his, his jacket unfolded and there's that white, to symbolize that he made the decision to go, towards the light side and things like that.
Yeah.
And then when you get glimpses in The Last Jedi of Rey and Kylo possibly teaming up, that could set up a whole stage of good and bad.
Yeah, totally. And it plays into also it plays into what we're seeing, right? And it answers a lot of questions, or gives them an opportunity to answer questions that don't make any sense right now. For example, in The Last Jedi, for the first time ever in Star Wars, we get to see two perspectives of one scene. It's the scene where Luke is considering killing Kylo. Right. And from Luke's perspective, he thought about it and then turned again. He said, no, I'm not doing it. And then from Kylo's perspective, who's completely messed up and insane, he sees Luke with crazy yellow eyes and all like demon Sith Lord looking. And it's like they are tricking the audience, but they're also tricking the lead characters.
Right.
So it's like they play it both ways. That's never been done before. Why would they do that? Yeah. And why would you ever trust a Sith Lord to tell the truth? You know what I mean? That's why I don't believe yet that Rey is actually nobody, because Kylo Ren told her. Why would you ever trust Kylo?
Right.
All he does is lie and manipulate, right? And the other thing is, it's like, was Luke really in hiding for 10, 20 years, not helping his sister and his loved ones? Like, was he really just drinking those weird walrus green milk the entire time? Come on, really? Like, with the abilities he has, is like that's his motivation? I don't know about that. And then it also plays to what he always wanted to do with the character. So I thought that's not realistic at all, to be honest. But the other thing is, some people think the Rise of Skywalker is just referring to Palpatine, because in the comics, which are in canon now, just like everything Lucasfilm Publishing or LucasArts Publishing does is in canon, the books, the comics, all that stuff. So they're very careful about how they put this stuff out. But in the Darth Vader comic series, in issue 25, they straight up show how Palpatine is basically the father of Anakin. He used the Force to impregnate Shmi, Anakin's mom. And they confirmed that. They don't talk about it in the movies yet, but that happened. That's an official in canon. So, in a sense, he sort of is a Skywalker. And then if you're hardcore into the lore and really paid attention in Revenge of the Sith, we get the whole speech from Palpatine when he's convincing Anakin to turn about how Darth Plagueis kind of conquered death. And so there's a theory there that not only is he the original Skywalker, sort of, because he created Anakin, but he's actually Darth Plagueis. And he sort of, the reason he wanted Anakin is to kind of move his life essence into his apprentice. That's how he kind of goes from generation to generation. And as we all know, the Skywalker lineage is totally cursed, right?
Yeah.
No Skywalker has done any good. I mean, you look at Anakin, what he did, look at Kylo, what he's doing, and why would Luke be the good one all of a sudden? I don't know. So there's a lot of interesting theories there. And I like the idea that we actually just don't know, you know?
Well, they're a fucked up family.
Yeah.
Interlopers.
They're the most fucked up family. Yeah.
Yeah, I did read somewhere online that in George's original writings, before he even penned the first draft of A New Hope, he did call the Force users Skywalkers instead of Force users
there you
specifically.
Go.
So
yep.
The Rise of Skywalker could be that.
Yeah.
Totally. And JJ has had meetings with George Lucas about kind of finishing the story that George Lucas had initially planned out. Because Lucas had treatments for episode 7 all the way to 12 when he was selling to Disney. So they had ideas. They scrapped most of it, but certainly Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams want to honor some of it. And Abrams said in interviews last week that he met with Lucas and had a big meeting to figure out to make sure his vision is being met as well. And that had to do with Palpatine coming back. So that means the entire saga was really about Palpatine as well. So especially with Anakin out of the picture, it was really about Palpatine. So who knows? Maybe it has to do with him.
Yeah, I think another, going off of Palpatine possibly being a Skywalker, Rey being a Skywalker, do you think he could be in Force Ghost form trying to maybe tether his spirit or essence into Rey, down the bloodline?
Be Rey or Kylo? Yeah, for sure. Or both somehow. I have no idea. Yeah, it's very interesting. But that leaves the biggest question of who is Snoke, and was he even a real thing?
Do you think that was just a Rian Johnson fuck up so bad that JJ had to bring the Emperor back just to rectify it?
I'm not sure. I feel like Palpatine was always part of the plan, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I know Lucas wanted that, and it's the only way to kind of tie it into what came before. And they're so stuck in the past, as we know, and nostalgia, that they kind of have to go back to kind of close the loop, so to speak. Otherwise, Snoke doesn't make any sense.
I don't think there's no way to rectify that character whatsoever.
No, I don't think they had that fully written out.
No, I think Rian Johnson killing him off was very counter.
He was obviously flying off the handle with a lot of things, and I just don't think he knew canon very well to make something feel like it had longevity beyond that movie.
Yeah, good thing they didn't give him a trilogy of movies to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of reports going back and forth on that. Some people are convinced in the industry that that trilogy does not exist. He's not doing it.
Oh, I can see him not doing it after episode 8.
But Rian Johnson says he is on social media, but I don't know if that's true. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, with Disney and Star Wars, they fired half the director so far in half the movie, so it's I have no idea what to believe. So,
well, maybe we'll find out next year at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, where it's going to be held again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, make sure you fly us out there for that one.
Got to go.
Yeah, we'll be on the Screen Rant private jet.
Yeah. Wait, what? There's a private jet?
Oh, you didn't know?
I wish.
Rob, before we let you go, we do have Avengers Endgame coming up this week. Bill and I will be seeing it on Tuesday. Actually. Are you fully mentally prepared, emotionally prepared to see this movie?
Funny you asked, actually. I'm flying out tomorrow to go to the premiere. Paying on my own dime. Not taking any private jets.
Okay.
My own dime.
Well, that's good, at least.
Yeah, I got the invite, but I'm going by myself. It's very strange. This year, so usually in LA, especially the Disney movies, do the big premieres at the El Capitan and TCL theaters in Hollywood. This time, apparently they're building a theater inside the LA Convention Center just for this.
Oh, wow.
It's less people are going, but it sounds like they're going to do something insane. So I feel like, given that my whole career is kind of timed with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I had to kind of just pay out of my pocket to go to experience this one, But yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and they're so protective. It's the first time they've had a junket where we couldn't see the movie beforehand. and the cast was largely unavailable. And as you know, like the screenings and the junk and the premiere are all happening just days before it opens wide. So they're just trying to keep it all under wraps as long as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Russos keep putting out those little notes not to spoil anything, which is always fun to read.
Yeah.
Any predictions for what goes down? Who dies? Who lives?
I mean, none I can tell you. I mean, I think we talked about this last time I was on the radio, where we talked about like being under embargo for set visits and all that kind of stuff. But
Right.
like I had the whole, like someone at Marvel Studios kind of outlined the whole plan like 3 years ago to me, and it's all, so I kind of know what's going on. I'm excited personally to see Hawkeye, because he's one of my favorite characters, and he's totally not getting the love he deserves. And I think in this movie, people are going to finally come around.
Well, he's going to get his Ronin look, too, also in the
Yes.
movie. So,
Yeah, I got his pop the other day, the Ronin pop.
Did you get it?
I did.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I would like to see Hawkeye in a bigger role. And, certainly. What was your take on Captain Marvel, real quick?
I don't know. It was okay. It was watchable, but like the story and writing was really just it felt so rushed and obligatory. It's kind of a shame. It's definitely bottom third of the MCU.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Made $1 billion though.
Yeah, I mean they all will now, right? I mean Aquaman made $1 billion, and that was insane. It was also fun to watch, but just insane,
Yeah.
So people just are hungry for that kind of content right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all the rage. The kids are digging it.
Yeah. Kids are all on that Molly too. I don't even know what it is.
There's no direct correlation between the two.
Nah.
All right, well, but we're going to let you get out of here. Make sure that, at some time in the next little bit, we get you back on again. It's not going to be a year in between, but we wanted to thank you again for calling in. We look forward to hearing your thoughts on Endgame, any of the movies coming out this year. We'll look to talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Have
Thanks,
a
Rob.
good Easter weekend.
Yeah, man,
Thanks.
you too.
You as well. Tell the family hi and best wishes.
Yeah, peace.
All right, Rob Keys from Scream Rant, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to have somebody who is actually at Star Wars Celebration calling in to recap their experiences.
Absolutely.
So great call. We always love hearing from Rob and getting him on the line whenever we can. Great dude.
I'll see him in Stovocore.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he'll get it.
I'll get it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think my Jingajang's muted.
Your Jingajang?
Yeah, my Jingajang soundboard's muted.
Yeah, you're all muted.
There we go.
bullshit.
No,
No
it's
bullshit.
not anymore. We're good, Arnold. Anything else Star Wars related, Bill?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, here we are coming right up to the end of the show limit here. We actually, I think, for starting late, we're actually ending pretty well on time. So, I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything with Star Wars.
With what?
With Star Wars.
Star Wars. What's that?
It's
Never
it's
heard
this
of it.
genre that takes place in space.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, and Rob said I had nothing but great questions, which, I mean,
I didn't hear him say that.
I always have great questions.
When did he say that?
It was in there.
Nah.
He's like, great question, Bill.
We'll have to rewind the tape for that one.
But yeah, I mean, so we talked Star Wars today. We talked Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Game of Thrones.
And I mean, pretty much those are big hot button things right now. So
Yeah, people are liking that stuff these days.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys want to continue these topics, certainly check out our Facebook page, even our Cinescape fan page. If you're a part of that, we get a lot of threads going on right now.
Yeah, our first Game of Thrones one Sunday night was a really good one. We're going to do that for every episode the rest of this season. Jump in this discussion thread and share your thoughts on this the episodes. A lot of fun.
And even though I haven't seen Star Trek Discovery, I'm willing to debate Rob on Discovery and all things Trek. So you know me, I'm already always down. We should have like a square off, like trivia, just Trek
Star
knowledge.
Trek
Me
trivia?
and him, yeah.
There, let's say that 5 times
Yeah.
fast. Star Trek trivia.
Star Trek trivia. Star Trek trivia. I'll hike my ass up to Toronto or Quebec or wherever he's at right now. I'll take Canada Air. I don't fucking care. And I'll hike up there.
JetBlue?
JetBlue. Is that even still around?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just cross that goddamn border, and I'll bring you along, and you'll make up 100 Trek questions that you don't even understand, and we'll fucking do this showdown.
Who are the Gorn?
We'll do this showdown at a Tim Hortons up in Canada.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, right?
What do we call it, like the battle north of the border or something? I don't know. Mike, How you doing over here?
Oh my God.
You all right? You back with
I'm
it?
happy we got to the end. We got through it. I feel like I just went through war over here in my own mind.
A Star War.
Zing.
Zing.
Well, I don't have much left to talk about.
No, I think we're good. Just real quick reminder, next Sunday we are going to be recording 4 Cinescape Trivia Challenge matches that are going to be released in the coming weeks in between our live show episodes, so make sure that you stick around for that on our YouTube channel. That's going to be the only place that you're going to be able to find those. We are no longer going to be live streaming those. It's going to be a YouTube thing only, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel today.
Exclusive.
Make sure you sign up to our website as well. Take a look at all the great content over there from us, from our great guest writers like Tristan Mayer, who was on the line with us earlier. And make sure you are following us on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to us where all good podcasts can be found. Also, download the new and improved Toxic Radio app, where you can find our podcast as well as other shows on the Toxic Radio
Get it on the go
network. For myself, Sean Harrigan, Bill Ratty Tazzy, Toxic Mike Francolino, we wanted to say thanks for listening today. Check us out next week. We will be releasing our Avengers Endgame spoiler review with lots of guests. Stay tuned for that. Peace out. Happy Easter.